right. Thank you, Tove and Terje, for inviting me here to Sandnes, close to Stavanger in Norway, on the battery expedition, showcasing the innovation that Beyonder is providing to our field. And I was just touring your R&D center and learned already a lot on the innovation that you provide. But I would like to deepen our discussion now with you both, and would like to open this conversation with a personal question, how you entered the field of battery innovation.
Should I start?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, it's a interesting question. I started my professional career by working 20 years in aluminum, aluminum, and then I thought I should do something else before I got too old. So then I started with oil and gas.
Okay.
And then after 10 years there, I was challenged by my previous colleague to come with him and establish Freyr. The company which was in Norway establishing 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes.
And all of us know how that went. So I was then offered the position as leading Beyonder, which was very interesting due to the fact that they had already very close, well-approved battery developed themselves.
Yeah.
But they needed to do a transition or a change to get it out in the market.
Okay.
So I thought that was a very good opportunity for me, based on the previous, experience from Freyr, what to do and what to not do.
Yeah.
So I thought this is my chance to address my competence into the green transition, and then I joined Beyonder 1.5 years ago.
Okay, Terje, how did you find into the field of batteries?
Before I start, first of all, thank you for visiting us in Sandnes, and it's a pleasure to meet you again after we met in Berlin. I also worked a long time, more than 25 years in the oil and gas business. And at one point, I felt that now it was time for a change, and I wanted to be a part of the green transition. So I joined a green tech startup company. And after some year with that company, it came to an end. And then batteries, that was a natural choice. And I knew Tove from the oil and gas industry, so we connected well, and I joined Beyonder to be responsible for sales and solutions.
All right. And I'm looking forward on going more into depth on that. You can decide who wants to answer the next question. What is the key innovation of Beyonder?
I would say the key innovation from Beyonder side is that we have a battery cell with very high power capabilities, with very long lifetime, which can operate with very low internal resistance, so it doesn't need a lot of cooling, and we don't use scarce materials.
Okay, so many key innovations. So you would like to add something?
I would like to add that this company was founded with the intention to produce a capacitor based on the sawdust. And I think after 8 years or so doing that with different projects here and there, I think they learned so much. And part of that learning is this hard carbon technology also developed here, which we actually is utilizing into producing the cell that Terje is now talking about. So it also shows that in order to innovate, you need to take some risks, and you need to be prepared to throw away some ideas as you go and develop others. And all in all, the competence that you develop is useful, but maybe some only 2 or 3 niche ideas will come to the full utilization into such products. So that is what this company is built on, is known for, I would say.
Yeah, innovation is kind of sorting out the routes that don't lead to the desired goal, right? And I mean, this word failure is often seen very negatively, but I think it's just a means of closing a dead end sooner than later, without putting too much cost in there. So doing testing, as I have seen here in your R&D center, right? talked to Kim about all the coin cell testing you do, but then also scaling this on the pouch cell level. And yeah, so I see the point, and it's good that you explore this. Maybe we can dive a little bit in depth on that.
But before you continue,
Yeah.
I just want to add, Beyonder was founded in 2016.
Yes.
So it took 8 to 9 years with R&D activities to have a qualified cell C-sample.
Yes.
When the battery wave really swept across Europe, there were many companies jumping on the wave, and trying to build capacity, to buy a license, build a factory. Beyonder was a part of creating the wave, I would say, starting with R&D activities. So we actually have a technology. We own the technology, and today we are utilizing the Asian surplus capacity to make the cell. Other companies, they're doing it in a different order. So that is also making us different from many of the other battery companies.
Yeah, I was about to edit, but I would have added it also later. It's very interesting because you're using this partnership approach. Maybe we dive into that at a later point, because I first want to look at the product a little bit more, because there are capacitors involved, there's sawdust involved in one part of your product portfolio. So what do you want to start with?
We can start with the sawdust. We have developed a very interesting technology to create hard carbon from sawdust. So we own that technology too. We don't utilize it to make the hard carbon for ourselves. That is bought in the market. But we have developed a technology for that, so that we could scale it to make hard carbon for giga manufacturing of battery cells.
Why could you do it, and don't you do it right now, if I may ask?
At time being, we have to concentrate on commercial to make our cell commercial and get it out in the market in a high volume to generate enough cash for the company. That is the key challenge we have at the time being.
Tove,
Yeah, so I think that the competence we learned by developing this hard carbon technology is so useful and a huge strength when we are designing or when we did design the B-powered product.
Yes.
And we have developed high carbon technology, but we also acknowledge that there are some time until we would be able to both take it to scale, but also to be able to sell it. Volume-wise, it's still not a huge volume. So I think we would spend too much money and too much time to come to a healthy financial situation by focusing on that one.
So you're saying this innovation needs to enter the market when the market itself is more mature and has more capacity, also financial capacity to invest in such a new technology to be scaled. In the meantime, as I understood, you are developing this B-powered cell, and this is an interesting concept. So maybe you can explain this really briefly on a conceptual level. Like, what is the cell about?
Yeah, but I think we have to say that the cell is developed. It is validated.
Okay.
So we don't want to spend more time and effort and resources to develop the cell. Well, we can do modifications to tailor make it to specific customers' need, but we will not spend more time on the B-powered cell as such. That is finalized, and we are into a custom commercialization phase on that one.
So this is the cell Beyonder has developed and qualified for mass production. So it's a pouch cell, and the uniqueness of this cell is, as I said, high power ability. We have now, and that's actually news to the market, we have now reached more than 20,000 cycles, continuous cycling, 5C.
Both ways,
100%,
right?
100%
charging, discharging
DOD,
at 5C.
5C, 100% DOD, with 2 minutes resting time between the cycles. And we have reached more than 20,000 cycles. We still have more than 70% remaining capacity. So this cell is really qualified. It's already mass produced in Asia, and it's ready for the market.
Maybe it's a good moment to also look at the production strategy that you just mentioned earlier, because you just mentioned that you're producing this cell in Asia right now. It's developed in Norway, but built in Asia. But as far as I understood from my outside perspective, you're also looking into European collaborations beside the one that you have with Asia. I think this is a good moment on also looking at this unique production strategy that you have, because you just mentioned that the cell is now coming from Asia, even though it is developed in Europe, in Norway. Maybe you can elaborate on that.
Yeah, so I think when we came to the point in the qualification process of this battery, we of course need to validate the production at commercial scale equipment. And that happened approximately 3 years ago, and the company didn't have resources, financial strength to build up a huge factory in Norway or a equipment line here.
Yes.
So then it was easy to turn to Asia, look for different partners. And all in all, we went into a partnership with one of the largest manufacturers in Asia and agreed to qualify the production, the B-Powered in their production equipment. So we actually took with us our recipe, our standard operating procedures, and we modified their equipment to fit to produce the B-Powered. And this validation process was finished and documented by the end of February 2024. Then we, turned out to the market and offered large-scale production from this Asian partner, which have offered us a yearly capacity of 2.5 gigawatt hours. And they have also even more capacity if we need that. Now what we have seen is that some of our customers is asking for European production. So it's not a hard requirement. It is still a soft requirement, but it's still questioned in a way that they commit to pay an upcharge if we are able to produce this in Europe. And after that, we have looked into utilizing this building that we have seen outside here to set up a 300 megawatt hour commercial plant.
So kind of pilot scale,
but to use for commercial production. So we're looking for continuous production equipment, not like a pilot where the aim is to learn. This is for sales then. In addition, we have press released our partnership with Leclanger in the Swiss company, yes. And we are now investigating what is needed to produce our B-Powered on their line in Willstadt in Germany. So, and of course, this is a part of our light capital model, where we think it's smart to grow with a adequate pace so that we actually can learn while we are moving. And then when we have enough orders, learned more about the technical specifications from the customers and see that we are able to really deliver according to plan and according to the specs, then we can actually build a large-scale plant. So we move along step by step.
Yeah, you're doing it kind of the reverse way. While other companies are building up the production capacity right up front, and some are failing because it's a very complex endeavor. You're building upon existing competence and experience where it is present already, and focusing on your core asset, your core competence, that is the development of an innovative performative cell, which, as you just mentioned, Terje, is quite outstanding in what it can deliver. What market are you addressing with this cell?
If you say the 4 main sectors we are seeing at the moment are mobility, it's maritime, it's grid support charging, UPS power backup. That's the 4 sectors. And of course, then you have some industries that are covering several of these sectors. Like if you go to the military sector, they will be within mobility, maritime, or grid support.
Where the European production becomes more of importance, I guess.
And that is, of course, a key question from that sector. Where do you manufacture? Because they want to have supply security. Geopolitical situation is stretched in some cases and so on. So it's important to have a diversified manufacturing capability today.
Okay, understand.
So, but the area where we see the highest traction at the time being, I think, is within mobility. You both have this mass transportation like buses, trams, trains, where they need this kind of high power applications, and you also have it within the EV sectors for the let's say personal cars for low voltage system, also 12 and 48 volt systems.
Okay.
So we have been doing some further tweaking of the cell today to cover all the requirements for low voltage system, because the normal operating temperature for this cell is from -20 to +55, give and take. And in the car industry, you in some cases see they want to have it down to -30 degrees.
Yes,
So
especially here in Norway, right?
Especially in Norway, like in Norway, yes. So, and we have actually managed to do that. So now we have a cell for that market, which is covering from -30 up to normal high temperature. So that's a very, very interesting market, but it takes time to qualify. When you get into a series, you deliver high quantities. And of course, if you buy high quantities, you want to be sure that it really works as promised.
To give a rough quantitative estimation, what do you mean with high quantities? In what range?
If you, for instance, say that you buy 200, 300, 400 megawatt hours per year over 5 to 8 years, for instance, that could be a high quantity.
Okay, then we have a rule of thumb or a rough estimation of what to expect. So now I would like to take a step back with you and look at our European battery industry and the ecosystem as a whole, and how Beyonder places in there. As we all know, the industry is in general challenges at the moment, finding the European identity, I would call it. And I would like to get your perspective on the challenges that Europe is facing at the moment. So if we would need to exemplify one thing, what would you name, Tove?
No, I will start with saying that we have to remember that this industry is quite young in Europe, and compared to Asia, we are far behind when it comes to competence and practical experience in running such an industry. I think there are several things I have been thinking through, and that is, one thing is the complexity. Another thing is, of course, that we have the political situation in Europe, so we'd like to have this industry and be independent from China very quickly. I think this is not a quick fix. Even if we get up production capacity, there is still not raw material sources in Europe. Even China have to go to South America even, but still they have this relationship, have utilized such raw materials. We simply lacking the competence and the experience in running such industry. I think if the problem we face is that if we like to be independent from China as a ecosystem, we need to decide, and we need to cooperate much stronger than we do today, and we need support from the states or the EU or the different governments to make it happen, because the market itself will drive this too slow. And I think we could look upon this battery as a critical infrastructure, which is needed also for making the green transition, where the Europe have said we should be leading. And then we need to understand the consequences of saying that. I think that is the challenge. We really would like to be independent, to be in the forefront, but we haven't really understood the consequences of moving too slowly and putting in the resources and the money that really requires to do so in the right speed.
I want to add, if you look at the expected energy mix for the future, we will have something with a lot of solar, wind, and something in addition. And we all know that solar and wind, they are depending on factors we cannot control. So we need something to stabilize. And we all saw what happened in the south of Europe not a long time ago, with a total breakdown of the systems, of the grid.
Yes.
I believe that with the right battery configuration in that network, with batteries able to support short-term with high power and long-term with high energy, with the right mix of that, we could have prevented that, let's say, energy shutdown of a big part of Southern Europe. And in that part, I see our battery playing an important role, because we can support with a lot of power for the short duration. And that's why we also have on our map grid support, frequency support,
you mentioned that, I understand.
So I think that's a key area. And of course, that is for our infrastructure. It's important to have a stable grid.
Yeah. So then, if we can look at this positively to get there, the hopefully not utopia, but vision that we will once realize or soon realize, what is the big potential that Europe is building upon? If you should put that in a couple of bullet points.
The potential that we're building upon.
Yeah. What is Europe unique about?
Europe have natural resources, like, for example, Norway have, hydropower. That is important when you produce also batteries. But I also think we have a high educational level of our people, which demand us in a way to use digitalization and automation, or expect us to do that. So we have a fairly good chance to speed up and to learn from models. And from digitalization, you can actually, of course, increase your efficiency very, very much.
And I think if you look at one of the Central Europe, many countries are very, very well known for making, let's say, production machinery. Also, all what you need to make battery cells and systems. You have the big players within energy market. You have system companies really good in making overall systems where you are embedding mechanical software and everything into a big system. So there are many, many advantages we have in Europe, and by pulling these together, you can have an ecosystem which is very strong.
Yeah, I think that is the big task that we have ahead of us, to pull it together, right? This then finally brings me to your recommendation, your advice. If we should paint this picture positively for the future, how do we get there? Fast forward, like, what would be key enablers, decisions, some strategies that would help us? So both of you, if you have one advice to our industry, to stakeholders, also in politics or finance, to investors, what would you give?
Stronger incentives to cooperate, first and foremost. For example, in Norway, we are now 3, we were 4 battery initiatives where all wanted to build gigafactories in the long run. I don't believe it would be place for 4 gigafactories in Norway. If you look in Europe, I think we should have an incentives to agree on how to build this as industry, as one. And another thing is we need governments, we need state leaders who understand and is willing to take a decision and contribute with what is needed. Not say one thing and do the other thing in a way.
I'm trying to build the format that those leaders can understand, so that they get a first-hand impression of what the competence is, and also through your statements, what the needed actions are. Terje, would you like to add something?
Side, if you say, look at the climate discussions and the prognosis for temperature increase, take that seriously, and what do we need to do to fight that development? Then we need to transition into a greener, let's say, energy market. And as a part of the greener energy market, we need, for instance, batteries.
Especially batteries,
of course. And to build a battery industry in Europe, you need a lot of time and patience and money. So make a system with tax relief, investment funds and so on, so that you can build up an industry. The Chinese are I don't know, 20 years ahead of us. We will depend on China and Asia for many, many years, but we also need to be able to stand on our foot in some years. Because this infrastructure is so critical for the whole, let's say, society. So go back to the climate and think about what do we need to change to avoid a temperature increase, which we cannot live with.
Yeah. So then I think collaboration is key, trying to connect the stakeholders from technology, politics, investors, and beyond. And with that, the word already says it, beyonder.
Yeah. That's why.
Thank you both of you for the conversation. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.